What is going on, everybody? Excuse me. First sip and it's hot. Welcome to Monday morning. Welcome to sitting around having a cup of coffee and talking about guitar stuff. I want to talk about Guitar Center, actually. I'm interested to hear what you think about this. So we got we did this video on Friday about PRS, Silver Sky, kind of the differences between that and the Strat. And obviously it looks very similar, but the guitars really play different. And, they're when you really get into the details, which is what a lot of this stuff is about, right? Is details. And it's a great guitar. I love it. Anyway, there was a lot of comments about. I'll just read one, and I'll just share this because this kind of encapsulates it. Okay, and not to attack this guy because he brings up an interesting conversation. Just not attacking him, and just PRS is suffering from identity crisis. First the Strat, then the Telecaster because they came out with that NF thing. Then the Ibanez S series from Dragon Force. He's talking about the whatever, I forget whatever that guitar is called. Anyway, the expensive one. They have all the talent in the world except coming up with a unique design that isn't a design ripoff. Okay, so my question is, what should they design? Right? It's always that same question. I asked him that, and he said PRS has had 30 plus years to create something original, and so far, mostly not all, if not all of his stuff is copied and hybrids from Gibson and Fender. Okay, right, because this kind of is evolution, right? You have to push something beyond the original design. If you're not going to copy it, it makes sense, right? Like all of what he's saying makes sense. However, where does that start and stop? Because if you make some crazy shape, people won't buy it. Somebody else brought up Dean, for example. And we're going to get to why I think Guitar Center is on the right track right now. At least I think they are. I'm curious as to what they're doing because of this. Somebody brought up Dean, okay? And Dean is like, well, look at Dean. And I'm like, well, yeah, look at Dean's original. They were like, look at Dean's original designs. Okay, here's the deal, though. Dean makes neat stuff, right? They do. But their original designs don't sell anywhere near what a Strat or a Tele or a Explorer or a V sell. So they made copies of those guitars, and those sold very well. But those were ripoffs, legally, obviously, because they lost. Whether you believe that or not relevant right now. They lost. So they had to stop making them. And now those quote-unquote original designs that are weird are barely keeping them afloat because they're not popular. People, like what Phil McKnight said the other night, people just want Tellys and Strats and Les Pauls. So what do you do? I asked a few people when they made comments like this, what would you design? If you were the person who said, I'm going to design an original shape, if everybody wants to say design an original shape, my question is repeatedly, what would it be? And not one person has been able to answer that question. It is much harder than you think. And not only that, because of the way the guitar community is, it will be much harder to get someone to adopt an original shape that is much different than the original 5 that we always talk about. It's just not going to happen in the same way. Now, getting to Guitar Center, I think that Guitar Center they've got a really interesting and cool idea here. Not because they're going to make the best guitar in the world. I don't know that they will. But because the project itself is an experiment that speaks to this problem. So if thousands of players submit their designs and they come up with something truly original, then it's possible that this thing could be a cool guitar. I'll give you my prediction. My prediction is that it's going to be shaped like a guitar and that it is going to be a guitar. There was an experiment very similar to this in the pocket knife industry. I can't remember the name of the company that did it. But they basically took the outline drawings of a whole bunch of trademark knives, like a whole bunch of various pocket knife designs, right? Because it's the same kind of thing. Like a pocket knife has to be like a pocket knife shape, right? And you can do cool stuff with it, but the more outlandish shaped it gets, the less functional and the less appealing it is visually to a large amount of people. Same problem, same psychology behind it. So they did this thing and they took all these designs and they overlaid them, and then they basically took the average of all of these designs, and what came out was a very basic looking pocket knife. My prediction, and you're like, I've seen that knife a million times before because it's knife, right? When you think in your mind, pocket knife, this is what that shape was. So when you think electric guitar in your mind, my assumption is, or my guess, we'll see if I'm wrong whenever they get done, is this is going to be a very guitar shaped guitar. You know what I mean? Like just kind of, right? And I don't know. Maybe it won't be, but that is my guess because we can't, as a community, come up with anything better than what's already come up with. And some people can, but they'll never sell it in the numbers of the originals, right? It's just an interesting, but I do think this is an interesting experiment. Letting the market, if Guitar Center does this the way they say they're going to, we'll see if they do, letting everybody tell them what they want and turning it into, and I did listen to the CEO talk about it. He's like, we had some crazy ideas that you can't, really implement, but there's a lot of ideas that are very cool. And it's possible that this is the type of thing that now we won't be held hostage by these 5 basic shapes, because in a sense, we are, but it's mentally, it's not legally. I think there's a lot of ways that you could make a guitar a different shape, but you won't buy it. You just won't buy it. You just won't. I mean, and that's something that people cannot come to grips with. I don't think. I don't think people, as individuals, a lot of guitar players cannot come to grips with the fact that they say that out of one corner of their mouth, but they will not buy something that is not one of the 5 big original shapes. People want to talk about the legal ownership thing with Guitar Center, but I think, to be honest with you, if you look at all that, it's just a legal boilerplate thing for something like this. If you took, it would be impossible to license every aspect of a design like this. So what I mean by that is, if you took this curve of this part of something and then that curve of something from somebody else, and there'd be no way to attribute that. And they're not going to. I know KDH made a video about this the other day. Why don't they make a contest out of it? But which is a cool idea, and I totally agree with him that would incentivize good designs. I really like that idea. The only difference, I think, is that I don't think they're gonna take one design from one person. I think it's going to be an amalgamation of designs from various sources, and there'd be no way to attribute all of that individually, right? So if you took this part of the body from one place and this part of the body from, because that's what's going to happen, right? It's going to turn into a mush of a guitar. But I'm interested to see how the experiment works, and if it's good, and no doubt I'm going to get one. I'm sure I can get Guitar Center to send me one when they're done, because I'm excited about this to see. Maybe it will be terrible. I don't know, but so I guess my question to you is, what would your contribution be to a new design? If you feel strongly that PRS is copying Fender, that these companies are copying Fender, that why can't anybody make their own designs, etc., then what would your constructive contribution be to a new design? And I'm not saying submit designs and I'm going to give them to Guitar Center. I'm not saying that. I'm saying instead of the conversation that we are currently having, what is the conversation that we could have that would actually be productive to move this forward? Because it seems to this point that nobody has an answer. When Rob Chapin did this idea where he crowdsourced ideas for guitars, he came up with Strats and Tellys, right? I mean, that's what they were, largely. So what are we doing? What are we complaining about? And why is this such a big deal, right? So would your guitar be mostly Strat with a different something? Would it be mostly Les Paul with a different, I don't know, whatever? Would it be more PRS like? Would it be some crazy shape that only you will buy? Because that's the thing. Well, I have this excellent idea for this guitar. I have people send me stuff. They'll send me ideas like, I'm working on this thing and I need this original pickup design. And I'm like, okay, it's like a starfish shaped axe with a pickup that won't actually work. I'm not interested. Like, literally, I get stuff like that. And so you're like, okay, I appreciate the passion. I appreciate the passion, but I don't know. You're gonna have to go somewhere else. So, because here's the problem: we want originality, but we also want familiar, right? And that's why a guitar like the Silver Sky makes sense. That's why a guitar like the NF53 makes sense. Honestly, that's why Ibanez S's make sense. It's, people complain about copies, but it's because they work. And legally, up until this point, people have been designing within the legal framework, for the most part, to make something cool. So has it actually been a copy? Not really, because they have been designing within the legal framework that has been there. We'll see how the legal framework continues to work out. I'm not a lawyer. But I think Guitar Center is right in what they're doing. I think they are, at least as a concept. Now, the guitar may suck. This idea may totally fail, but it is an excellent, excellent experiment in why, if it fails, because there's a couple of reasons why it could fail. One, if the guitar's not good, I mean, like, actually good, not good, like, a piece of crap. But I doubt that. I bet they use some Indonesian factory or something, and they make a really good guitar. I bet they do that. Or somebody, World Music, somebody. They're gonna use somebody good, I would imagine, to build the guitar. I would imagine. But conceptually, is it going to be good? That remains to be seen. And if it's not, it's because of you, to be honest with you, and me. It's like it's going to be a result of. It's going to be a mishmash, I think, but we'll see. I don't know. It might be amazing. I don't know. It might be amazing. Anyway, let me know. Get in the comments and tell me. I want to know, if you really want to solve this problem, what does your guitar look like? If you're going to get in the comments and talk about it, what does your guitar look like? That's the real question.